Hello everybody, welcome back to Xicana Boxing on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to talk about the best fighters of 2023. Fighter of the year, who was that guy? So while I usually don't do pound for pound list fighter of the year, this year I felt like I'm just gonna try it out, and I do have some names that popped up immediately, so let's dive right into them. And of course, hit that subscribe button so you never miss another video, because I promise you Xicana's coming with a lot of heat for 2024. So our first pick for the fighter of the year of 2023 is obviously none other than Terrence Crawford. After Terrence Crawford was, fighting ducking allegations with the people just posting duck emojis on his post, we just, couldn't defend them after going to Black Prime and fighting a Venetian and, dodging that fight with Spence back after immediately leaving Top Rank, right? Like, we were just like, okay, like, he ain't beating those ducking allegations. But it's crazy how he just came in and just dismantled the fuck out of them. That's what Errol Spence did to the other champions. Meanwhile, here comes Bud Crawford, fucks him up since the second round and then just completely beats him into submission. This guy that we thought was going to give him the best fight of his career, because we doubted his resume at times, at 147 at least, right? So it's like we have to put him as fighter of the year contender. You guys let me know if you guys agree if he should be the first, or how you guys would rank them. I'm gonna pick mine at the end, but let's start off by chronologically. Just Terrence Crawford definitely deserves a nomination in my opinion. Now, going to number 2, I think we have Devin Haney. Now, I know a lot of people do not want to include Devin Haney because they feel like, his fight against Lomachenko was a bad decision for him. They felt that Lomachenko was the deserving winner that night, and they just can't get past that. So they just don't see Devin Haney as a fighter of the year. And while I feel like that Lomachenko fight was close, I also feel like just they brought the best out of each other. And regardless of who you feel won, that fight, just to fight along, not thinking of the scorecards, that fight was a really entertaining back and forth competitive matchup. And if you are, that's what it takes to be fighter of the year. Of course, being dominant is going to make you as a fighter of the year and things like that. But kind of going back and forth with somebody, who everybody ranked at the top of the pound for pound list like Lomachenko, and then just defeating him, even if it was edging it out, and then coming at 140 and immediately capturing a belt of someone that had been a former unified champ in the division. That, I think Devin Haney definitely deserves a mention and being recognized as one of the top fighters for 2023. And my last pick for fighter of the year contender is going to be none other than Naoya Inoue, of course. Just the day after Christmas, we saw him dismantle Tapales, who actually gave him a better fight than I expected, because of he's a southpaw. So I felt like, okay, like that's what made it a little bit more interesting. And of course, I'm not gonna take anything away from Marlon like that, because he did he became champion, right? He was there deserving of that unification bout, but no mamas. The monster did it again. The monster did what he does best, which is get people over to his turf and beat the shit out of them. Right? And before this, he beat the shit out of Stephen Fulton, who beat the shit out of Leo, what was his name? Angelo Leo, right? And Danny Roman. And he is just like this guy that was like, oh my God, he is. I'm not going to say he was. He is a really good fucking fighter. And Inoue just completely demolished him and made it look fucking easy, right? So how is that not fighter of the year worthy to do that and dispose of 2 champs, right? Unified champs, and then become 2-time undisputed, right? But yes, Inoue, definitely fighter of the year worthy. not just this performance, but that motherfucker's been going to the weight classes since like 2018. Just fucking guys up. I'm so excited to see him next year, and I'm so excited to see that, you know, the fights that are coming up with that. And, you know, I think people, the only reason I think people would discredit a fight, a fighter like Inoue as fighter of the year is because I think they might see Crawford's accomplishment because of the level of fighter that was Errol Spence, another elite guy in the division. Of course, you're going to pick that victory over Inoue, and obviously both guys becoming undisputed, in my opinion, are going to top Devin Haney's accomplishments, right? Because he kind of became undisputed in late last year, and defended this year and became 140 champ. So I think becoming undisputed already, that kind of tops Haney off of the list, right? And in my opinion, it could be either Crawford or Inoue. There's no right answer because they both accomplished being undisputed in this weight class, and also they disposed of their opponents rather fucking easily, right? I think it just your preference on whose opponents you think are worthy or whose accomplishments in the long run of their career highlights, right, in the grand scheme of things. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. My pick is, it's got to be Crawford. Just electrifying. But since the second round, when I saw him do a Spence like that, it was over. And it was both devastating and accelerating to see that shit happen in front of my eyes. Like, amazing. Amazing. That performance was amazing. And I just got to give it to my man, Crawford. Even though he is going a little bit Jordanis Ugasanas, you know, on Twitter, always like tweeting that, you know, he crossed the street and anybody doubted him. And, you know, it does get a little annoying, like with Ugas, like, give it a rest, bro. Like, yes, you won. Like, thank you. But, oh my God, ya cállate los hocico. But also it's like, no, like, you know what? Talk your shit, Terrence, because people were flooding you with those fucking duck emojis and people were making fun of your trainer. So talk your shit. Like, I mean, we're just gonna have to, I'm mashing. We're just gonna have to deal with it, you know, and, you know, let's hope he comes to beat Jermel's ass for beating his baby mama. I would actually love to see that. Tim Tszyu, too. You know, speaking of Tim Tszyu, let's talk about honorable mentions. Honorable mentions is definitely Tim Tszyu, because Tim Tszyu beat the fuck out of Harrison, right? And then beat the fuck out of Brian Mendoza, who had just beat the fuck out of Sebastian Fundora, right? Who will actually be featured in my Knockout of the Year contenders video coming up in a bit. But yeah, that, you know, Fight of the Year, I feel like an honorable mention would also be Tim Tszyu, because he just like fucking everybody up waiting for Charlo to fight Canelo so then he can fight him, right? So now that it's Charlo's no longer undisputed, I would love to still see him fight Tim Tszyu, and then Tim Tszyu can fight whoever the fuck else is fighting for undisputed. It'd be great to see Charlo get his ass beat, because how are you gonna like not throw punches against Canelo but like brag about beating your baby mama? Like, no, I hope Tim Tszyu comes for your ass, okay? No. And speaking of another honorable mention, I think we have to mention David Benavidez. Of course, David Benavidez has kind of also been kind of like fighting kind of names that nobody really asked for, right? Except for Killer Plant. We sure as fuck asked for that, and he beat the fuck out of him, and I was very happy. Like, that was my birthday present. My birthday was in March 26th, and I was just very, very fucking happy, because you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of Caleb Plant. Just not, right? But I think David Benavidez deserves, you know, honorable mention, because he has fought guys like Caleb Plant, who, you know, even though Canelo fought him to unbeat him, I think Benavidez, we remember their beef, and we didn't give a fuck if they lost. We didn't care. And it happened, and it was amazing, and David fucking beat his ass, and it was amazing. Even though it was a decision, I think the only reason it was a decision is because Plant asked him for like the bigger ring, so, you know, he was kind of on the whole time fucking like going around the ring, and David was chasing after him. But David was a little bit better at cutting off the ring. Maybe he could have gotten him out of there, but oh, that was such a good ass beating. I loved it. And obviously with Bubu Andre también, like, nobody really asked for that fight. No one really like cared, but it was both each other's kind of like throwing a bone at each other because they both haven't gotten like big fights like that. So like, yeah, he bit his ass, and Bubu tried, but no, yeah, he beat his ass. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you agree with my take that it should be Crawford that should be fighter of the year, or do you think it should be Inoue? Or do you feel like it should be Devin Haney because he's younger and he's not ducking the smoke and he's doing everything he can to like be in the top of the division? You know, you guys let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys later. Stay tuned for my other videos of knockout of the year, contender of the year, prospect of the year, you know, all trainer of the year, all that other shit. Let me know what you guys think, if you agree with me, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.